Ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Hello ladies and gents, welcome to the channel. This is another live stream. We're just going to load up. And hello to those of you who are watching the video on YouTube later on. I do apologize for not doing a P3D stream or a P3D video in quite a while. We've had a few things happening in the simming world. Let's just go cold and dark. Yep. Yeah, there's been a few things happening in the simming world. The DCS F14 launched, and then I've kind of also been introducing the IL-2 Great Battles to my channel. So there's been a couple of things that I've been concentrating on that are not P3D related things. Let's just empty the plane, open the door, and I think we're pretty much good to go. Oh, what a lovely looking aircraft. Okay, let's just set the time. I think it being 6. If I hit set to now, yeah, look at that. That's good. Okay, so let's just bring up the stream now. Like so. I'm just setting the real world time. Hello Darren, good to see you. Good to see you, first person to post in the chat. Good to see you. I am currently on the ground at Coffs Harbour in the eastern side of Australia. And we are going to fly from here up to the Gold Coast. The scenery for both Coffs Harbour and Gold Coast are provided to us by Orbex or FTX. And all of the scenery in between these two airports is the FTX Gold, FTX, yeah, the FTX Australia package, which is called the Gold package, but whatever. Let's just set, okay, I've got good frames, that's good. Okay, so I'm flying in real world time. Let's actually jump on VATSIM as well, because why not? There's no one on at the moment. Ooh. Yes, I would like to install the beta, thank you very much. Yes. Okay. Ooh. Alright. Okay. CWJ. And we are a PA-28. I believe that's what we are anyway. No, Comanche. Cherokee. Come on, where's my Cherokee? Not an Apache. That would be pretty sweet if we were an Apache though. Did I miss the Cherokee? The Pawnee, the Aztec. Where's the PA-28? There's the PA-24. Doesn't it have the PA-28? Let's go PA-28. Thought we were the PA-28. Hang on a second. A PA-28 Alpha. Oh, the P-28. Ah, there you go. There we go. Right. Okay, let's see. Hello, good evening, Airborniac. Good to see you. It's been a while since it's been a while since I've done a stream like this, so it's more my fault than anyone else's. Oh, it's nice and smooth. It's nice, and I've managed to hit the right weather and the right setup, and thankfully the time of day is not producing any kind of issues in terms of frame loss. Okay, so let's do a walk around before we do anything else, because this is going to be a full flight. So let's jump in the aircraft. Control wheel lock remove. There we go. Master switch on. Let's just hide that for a second. I believe that's what, yeah, master on. There you go. Fuel quantity gauges, we need to check those. Let's go over here and check those. Okay, so we've got half, actually on the right hand side. Let's just go and look at our fuel. Do you know what? I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it like that because it's real life, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. That's fine. Should I take the GTN 750 away or not? I have converted to X-Plane 11. All I can say is, wow, you seriously need to get it. Nice. I would get X-Plane 11. I only have a certain amount of money, and I've invested enough in P3D version 4 that at this point I might as well just continue in P3D version 4. Although I know X-Plane has much better in things in terms of performance, graphics out of the box sometimes look a bit better, and lots of add-on developers are really pushing into X-Plane 11. It's like I go on the FS Elite news channel. News page, and all I see is information about such and such a thing is released for X-Plane 11, this, that, and the other, and it's like, wow, there's really a big push, particularly with the larger, Orbex. A lot of Orbex scenery is going into X-Plane 11, so it's a really bright future for X-Plane 11. I think they're really catching up on what P3D and what FSX has traditionally held as all of the developers seem to have been over there for a while, but I like to see how that's gradually being broken up, but no, I mean, maybe one day I will get X-Plane 11 if I have the money, and I'll go and do that. But for now, I'm happy with what I'm doing. So, right. So master switch. I need to do pitot heat. Let's just turn on the pitot heat. There it is. Let's just turn the pitot heat on for, a minute or two, just to warm that up, and then when we do the walk around, we'll just touch it and just check that it is actually working. So yes, we did check the fuel quantities, and I think we do have enough to get. It's only 130 nautical miles to the Gold Coast, so it's not too bad. It's not like we're going cross country, and then that should be long enough, and let's just go with ignition off there. Okay, so on the outside, that's fine, that's nice and tight, those look good, those linkages. Let's go over to these linkages here, also look good. Take down the tie down, remove the wheel chock, sump the right fuel tank, all looks good. Check the fuel, and of course, usually I just run with full fuel tanks all the time, but I want to play around with the realism here. I want to challenge myself, so that's fine there. Check the oil, just below 8 quarts, which is fine. To be fair, I need to get into the habit of not always replacing the fuel every time I fly, because I need to feel the challenge of this. So just check that you can't like grab the camera and move it, but yeah, just check the leading edge of the wing and check that there's nothing. I did once in my simming history with A2A, I did once see a rag stuck inside the vent here, and I did remove it. So I did catch that once upon a time. It's only happened to me once. This is what A2A is like. If you fly it for long enough, these little things will happen to you. One thing I've never seen is water in the fuel. And in real life, I have had this demonstrated to me, and you can clearly see the layer of water sitting below. Yes, the layer of water sitting below the fuel, because fuel is less dense than water. So, the water will kind of sit below the fuel. And it's amazing when you see it, because you're like, wow, that's what it actually looks like. Because you always hear about this condensation inside the fuel tank. You must sump the fuel tank to make sure that there's no water in the fuel contaminating the fuel. And it's like, you've never actually seen it happen. It's not. Oh, I should have taken that off before. Oh, and whatever. Okay, maybe I left it too long. Yeah, there you go. That's fine. Wiggle that. That's rock solid. Both my flaps are rock solid, which is fine. I'm not going to complain about that. Just take the back tie down off. Just double check these linkages. Every now and then, once in a rare blue moon, you will see those linkages broken. So, and there's a little bit of play in the rudder, in the trim tab there, but that's fine. Just lock the door. Make sure no kangaroos come up and try and eat our sandwiches. And there we go. So that is the walk around in a brief nutshell. And it's getting lighter all the time. That's nice to see. The sun is just coming up. I do love Australia. I really want to travel to Australia one day. I would like to go to Australia. I'm sure I will one day. We'll see. Right. So let's just jump into the cockpit. Let's close the door. Let's just check the chat because a lot of people... Ian, come join me on Discord, Ian. I'm on Discord. Jump in and have a chat. I've... Airborne Ian. I've invested over £1,000 in FSX, but I don't care. It's just it's just no context. Yeah, that's fine. To be fair, it's like when people like us, you know, invest more than £1,000. I'd say £1,000. Yeah, you've invested over £1,000. I've easily invested over £1,000. I don't really want to think about how much I've invested in Flight Sim, but I suppose it gets to the point where, well, if you've invested that much, you know, another payment for X-Plane 11 isn't that much at the end of the day. But then, of course, like there's all the add-ons that go along with X-Plane 11, and I just don't want to bother with. I don't have the money at the moment, so yeah. Try the demo at least. Yeah, I could. I was watching some of the early videos when you were learning VATSIM. Made me chuckle. I know. Well, the thing is we've all got to learn somehow, and you learn by making mistakes, and you learn by, you know, doing it better the next time, and that's really what my earlier videos were about on VATSIM. Hello, Malta. Good to see you again. I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so we've shut the door. Let's just lock the door as well. I am so on it today. It's probably because I just went to McDonald's and had like 5,000 calories worth in one meal. So my brain is just tripping. Okay, I'm not going to run with the GTX 10. The GTN 750. I'm going to run with the standard, just because I like the retro feel. You know, that's what it's all about. Okay, so apart from that, let's go to upon entering the cabin. Okay, weight and balance has been checked. Close and secure cabin door, done that. Control wheel locks removed. Control wheels are free and correct. Let's go and have a look at that. That is, and whenever I push that, what is that? What was that weird popping reflection that I just had? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, ignition and avionics are off. That is correct. Yes, master switch on. Check fuel quantity. Did do that. I'm going to run off the left-hand tank. So, yes, it's going to be right there. I'm going to turn that to the left. I'm going to drain the left tank until they're both equal. That's what I'm going to have to do. Flaps extend and then retract. So let's just go down. It's basically just like a handbrake. They are manually done. You can see. I will turn on track IR whenever I start taxiing, but for now I'll just pan around the cockpit with my mouse. Elevator trim set for takeoff. It is pretty much set to neutral, which is kind of the takeoff position. And because it's getting warm, or it's getting foggy, let's open that up. Let's just double check the exterior temperature. 23 degrees Celsius, my goodness. These... Australia. Australia, I want you. I want you in my life. Right, let's go grab by. Oh, a little bit of frame. Oh, no. Come on. Frame rates, come back. Thank you. Right. Flaps extend. Elevator trim set for takeoff. Beacon on. Strobe light. Fuel pump. Landing light. Rotating beacon. Well, yeah, it is already on. Nicely. Yeah, you can see it beeping away at me. Okay. Engine starting and taxi. Okay, so What I want to do first, though, is I'm just going to grab Heidi. She's coming with me, and her baggage, because Heidi never travels without her baggage. Wheel brakes. What is that again? You saw that again. Oh, is that the wet windshield wiper? Actually, no, but there are no windshield wipers, so that wouldn't be like... What is that? Reflection. It's like popping on and off. I think that's to do with the sun. The global sun positioning. I really feel P3Dv4, it's lovely, but the lighting just needs, and I've said this time and time again, the lighting modeling and the lighting engine really needs an update. I think the lighting, physics of the lighting really do my head in more than anything else at the moment, really, with version 4. Alright, okay, carb heat off. That is currently off. Fuel selector fullest tank, it has been. Master switch is on, that is correct. Fuel pump test. Tested. Primer, 1 to 3 strokes. Will give me 2 strokes because it's quite warm out. I don't think we really need anything else. Okay, mixture, rich, throttle, cracked, and by cracked, at least 25%-ish. Engine area clear, that's correct, and ignition to both, like so, and starter engage. Come on. There you go. That wasn't difficult. Aww. Look at that, me starting A2A simulation engines on the first try. I'm a big boy now. Right, so oil pressure, check. Let's check those oil pressures. In the green, and oil temperature is coming up. So just idle around 1,000 RPM, which it is, that's fine. Just going to lean for ground operations, going to lean back to about 75% on the mixture. Sip some tea, check. Ammeter, positive indication. And that is 9 amps, that's good. Nav lights is required. Let's go landing lights off. Navigation and instruments on. Did that go up, down, or what? Oh, right, okay, yeah. And landing light, we could put the landing light on as well, because we're going to taxi soon. Right, altimeter set. That is set to the 1013, which is actually what it is right now. So it's pretty cool. We've got perfect ideal conditions. Heading set. Okay, so we're going to take off, and we're going to fly basically directly north until we pick up our visual bearings. This is going to be VFR. We've got lovely day, lovely weather. This is going to be a lovely VFR flight. So radio master on, and radios on, of course. So the radios have now just come on. So let's just go to Plan G. It's been a while since I've been in Plan G, but it's always good to go back to your roots. Let's just set up a few things first. So what we'll do is we'll set up the ADF of Coffs Harbour, just in case we need to return for any reason, if there's any kind of issues in the air. That is, see, 311, correction. So let's go set 311. And then you push the middle in to change the tens, and then you press that across and the frequency comes across, and on our ADF needle you can see it swinging now. That is tuned to the ADF of Coffs Harbour, which is that green right there. We will also grab, while we're about it, we might as well grab 117 megahertz for the VOR as well. So let's put 117 megahertz like so, and then nav1 should swing in. There you go. And then we'll use that kind of tracking outbound roughly north. So if we just set due north into that, that's fine. We'll play around with that later. So that's Coffs Harbour, and then as we fly up the coast. I'm not expecting any issues at all. We're literally just a nice casual up the coast and then we will skirt around the Evans surface to 8,000. That's surface to 8,000 restricted airspace of Evans. So we'll probably run inland from there. So yeah, we'll figure it out from there. But VFR really nice and simple. No ATC on at all, unfortunately. We're on Unicom 122.8, so I don't expect too much of an issue from there either. Everything looks okay. Let's just do a stream check. Everyone buckled in, feel comfortable. Malte is thumbing up. That's good. Yep, 10 people on YouTube, 1 person on Twitch. That'll be you, Ian. Okay, feet on the rudder pedal. Let's just get track IR like so. Oh, this feels good. I'm looking forward to this. Okay, ground check, throttle 2000 RPM. Let's bring that up. Just lean over into Heidi's lap. Excuse me, Heidi. 2000 RPM, mags, right. Let's go to the left mag, watch the RPM drop. Yep. Ooh, you hear the choppiness there. The right mag definitely isn't engine, and just check the engine while we're up at 2000 RPM. Just check everything's still holding okay. That's fine. Okay, and next checklist is the takeoff checklist. Let's just take a look around us. That's all good. Coffs Harbour is a beautiful airport. It really is, and we're on the GA apron at the moment. Okay, brakes off. Let's just come back down to 1000 RPM. I can see the chat popping away on in my peripheral vision on the left hand side, but let me just get this thing moving first before I have a look at chat. Let's just put 1 notch of flaps down for look at the nice lighting in the cockpit. Just bring that down to 1000 RPM. See, airborne at yeah, all of those bugs in Australia. Pack some snake anti-venom as well. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Just Me. I almost forgot. Thankfully, in Heidi's purse, everything is contained. I mean, Heidi just has absolutely everything. She comes completely. She's a high maintenance woman. She comes completely ready for any eventuality. And you can tell because whenever you look at the weight and balance, that's 85 pounds worth of baggage in the back, and that's not mine. That's Heidi's. She comes with everything. I mean, she doesn't come with a manual though. That would be helpful. Okay, I'm just going to cross the active. Let's just double check here. Yeah, well, this is not the active correction. This is the secondary runway, which isn't active at the moment. It's the runway down there is what's active. So we're just using it as a taxi lane. I could have taxied. I actually should have taxied from the GA apron down, but you know, I don't have to today. It's all about the journey today. It's not about getting there quickly, obviously, or else we'd be in the Concorde, which hasn't been released yet, but we'll do someday. Oh, I'm looking forward to flying the Concorde. The EMUS will defeat you. What is the EMUS? What is the EMUS? Just get my control column back, thank you. Taxiing nicely. There is a Virgin Australia 737 over there. That's nice. It's well modeled. Okay, so let's just double check the wind. Of course, we're flying with okay, that's 310 at 7, which means we do need to go down to the other end of the runway. We can't just simply take off from here. That would be a tailwind. So we're going to travel all the way down. Oh, look at that lovely cockpit lighting. Look at the shadows inside the cockpit. Very nice. My simulator performance is a bit hit and miss these days. Sometimes I'll get nice frames, like right now. I'm running right up against 30 FPS, almost. And other times I get really bad frames per second, like the other day when I tried to do a live stream in the Dash 8. So it's a bit strange. And recently I decided, instead of saving up for a GTX 1080 Ti, I've decided to save up for the RTX 2070 because it's cheaper, and it's also it's almost as good as the GTX 1080 Ti. It's not quite as good, obviously, but for what I need, for my needs in P3D, P3D is really the benchmark of my whole PC. I do other things. I play other games. Not that I really call this a game, but I play other applications like DCS, etc. And I feel like a more modern card, a 2000 series card rather than a 1000 series card, in the long run would probably be better for me anyway. So, and the GTX 1080 Ti is expensive. It's like 700 quid. So that's why you can see in my bottom right hand corner, my donation goal has changed to an RTX 2070. So I've got less of a distance to go, and I'm hoping within the next 6 months, 3 to 6 months, to be able to upgrade to an RTX 2070, and I should be able to see much better FPS and performance, because the RTX 2070 will marry up to the i7-8700K very nicely, and I think the two will balance each other out. At the moment, the graphics card is a big bottleneck. So just before we hit the active, let's just make sure that we have our strobe. The fuel pump is on there. Okay, let's just hold before the active and run our before takeoff checklist. Well, it just goes from ground check to takeoff. So seatbelts checked, doors. We'll do this checklist now. Flight controls free and correct. They are indeed free and correct. Elevator trim has been set. Mixture is rich now. Carb heat is off. Visually make sure that's checked. Fuel tank, yep, it is left on the fullest tank. Carb heat off. Fuel tank, the electric fuel pump on. The fuel pump needs to go on now. Engine gauges normal. Still, oil pressure's still a little bit on the low side, but that's fine. It'll rise as we rev up. Everything else looks okay. And wing flaps as desired, correct. Okay, right. So let's just look to the right and make sure the active is clear. No one's doing a go around. It's a very quiet day. Moving across the instrument hold line. Oh, it's just. There's those strobes strobing away like the strobes they are. Okay. And off we go into the wild blue yonder. Smoothly bring the throttle up. Oh, I can feel that wind. See my rudder pedals. 80 knots and nose up. Okay, let's just climb out it. Okay. Okay, let's just nose down slightly to reach 100 knots and then flaps up. Ah, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. See the wind I was talking about pushing us off the center line behind us. There's a bit of precipitation behind to the south, you can see. And there's Coffs Harbour below. Orbex really have done us very proud. The amount of the amount of scenery they've given us across the entire world is really good. I really like it, particularly when it runs smoothly. And you'll see the Gold Coast up ahead. When we reach the Gold Coast, you'll see how amazing that scenery looks. And since I got the i7 8700K, that has seen a definite improvement on the autogen rendering of the Gold Coast city scene landscape. So still flying manual, and that's fine because I'm flying VFR at the moment, and I haven't put any information into VATSIM, but pretty much nothing's going on VATSIM in this part of the world at all, sadly. There you go. No flight plan, that's fine. And because of course I have my left tank is heavier than my right tank, you can see I'm always drift to the left, so I have to pay attention to that. So, and I'm audibly picking up the VOR station, which is interesting. Just trimming. And remember, I've got the 85 pounds worth of baggage in the back of Heidi's, so that's probably what's giving me that trim issue. I won't fly any. Actually, I could climb up to about 8,000 to 10,000 feet to get over that. That's what I need to do. I need to climb higher than Class E.
Hello, Peter.
Oh, Ian, good to hear from you.
Greetings, my friend.
Yeah, long time no hear. How's things been going?
Yeah, not been doing a lot of flying recently due to real life work and all that sort of thing. You've got to do what you got to do, haven't you?
That's right. Yeah.
So, but it's all sort of steadied down a little bit now.
That's good.
Got to get home away from the football, which is good. No
Yeah.
Premier League this week.
Right.
So we got the internationals. So the
I
company
see.
I work for doesn't do those. So I've got a bit of time at home, which is good. So I
That's
can
cool.
do a bit of flying and whatnot.
Lovely. You're coming through a little bit on the crackly side,
I've got
I must
some
say.
news for you.
Yes?
Sorry?
You're coming through a
got some
little bit
news for you.
crackly, but what's the news?
My daughter, has just been accepted onto the BA Mixed Fleet Cabin Crew Training Course.
Wow! Congratulations!
So she's all chuffed.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's off to Heathrow for 6 weeks, starting in May, to do the training.
Wow!
So she's done really well to get this far.
Yeah.
You know, like thousands apply. So you first of all you have to go through like an online selection process.
Yeah.
And then they whittle you down to be invited to like an assessment day.
Yeah.
So she went up to. They have a week of assessment day, and there's like courses of like 25 every few hours go through, and then half of them get cut.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
the other half get invited to go to the actual training course.
Huh.
So
Wow.
she's done really well to get actually onto the course. I mean,
Wow.
there's no guarantee of any work.
Yeah.
You know, or even passing the course.
But you never know. I mean, that's you've just got to go for it. And
absolutely, she's in there.
Yeah.
You know, she's well travelled. She's been on planes. She's okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's
you know,
lovely. Congratulations.
Some of the technical stuff maybe, you know, she needs to brush up on, and then there's the safety thing, you know, the underwater escape stuff and all that. But she might get through.
Yeah.
So she's really looking forward to it. So
that's good.
Should be good.
So she's going over to London this week then, or something, or?
No. The course starts in May.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So she's got through to the assessment, and then they start them every few weeks. So she's on a course that starts in May. So she'll have to go up there for 6 weeks, and that's the length of the course. She gets paid for training.
Well, there you go.
Which is good. So the 6 weeks training work, and then if she goes through that, then she'll get offered possibly onto the mixed fleet out of Heathrow.
Oh, cool.
And then obviously then she works up to the world group then, where you get the really nice long haul, blah blah blah, etc. etc.
Well, so, I myself am going down to Heathrow on Friday morning early. Actually, I'm flying out to the States for a conference for a week from Friday to Friday. So flying out to Indianapolis and Louisville. So I won't be around for a week as of kind of Thursday evening onwards. So I'm flying from Glasgow down to Heathrow on the first flight of the day. It's like 6 in the morning. Then I'm going to get a 747 out to Chicago. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's the first time in my life. I was actually on a 747 when I was 2 years old, but I don't count that. But this is my first time on a 747 when I'm able to appreciate the fact that I'm on one.
Yeah.
So
get it while you can, because they get becoming very rare.
Yeah,
aren't they?
exactly.
That's the passenger 747s.
Yeah, I'll have decades, hopefully, of my life to be able to travel on 787s, on 777Xs and what have you. But the 747s are a dying breed, sadly.
They certainly are. Get it while you can. Well done.
So looking forward to that, and then some random plastic bus from Chicago to Indianapolis, and then the same basically in return. Although on the return trip, I can't remember if I'm flying the transatlantic leg on a 787 or on a 747. I'd have to double check that, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm going to be pretty tired, but it's going to be fun. So it's just a work conference I'm going out for. So. No, it's good to hear about your daughter. I wish her all the best.
Yeah, she's really chuffed on that, and so am I. So that's she's worked hard for it. So we'll see. We'll see. 'Cause she likes travelling. She loves travelling. She's been all over the world, you know, backpacking and that sort of thing. Yeah. So she's
that's good. And
so we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Have you heard about the whole? I'm sure you have heard about the whole 737 Max issue. And
indeed,
the latest I heard actually was an airline, I think it was a budget airline, cancelled all of their orders for the Max. So it sounds like a few people in the industry are starting to go, hang on a second, this is a good excuse for us to cancel some of those orders that we don't want anymore, type thing. So I'm wondering if I don't think the popularity of the 737 will be damaged long term. I think this is another one of those teething pains.
After all, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's another one of these teething pain issues. It's the same issue like when we had the lithium-ion battery fires on the 787s, and I think they grounded the 787s for a while until they got that fixed. And now, of course, no one has any issues with the 787. It's still a popular choice, but just one of those things.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, it's the unknown at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they haven't got to the bottom of it. Why the vertical profile is all over the shop.
Although this is a little bit more serious than the 787 in that the fact that a number of people have passed away because of these issues, and that's
absolutely,
of course, like a battery fire on the ground is pales in comparison with the loss of life. So
absolutely. So they'll have to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And then when they do, then they'll figure a way out, an alternative to it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Reprogramming sounds like a software kind of issue. Computer.
Yeah.
Software issue.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, speculation is terrible, really, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
You can read into anything. You can make up anything because we just don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah. Climbing up through 8,000 feet so that I can pass through that airspace to the north. I'll make it 9,000 feet just to be safe. And there's something nice about flying in a little GA aircraft at a high altitude. It's like you're on top of the world in a tiny little tin can. So, Ian, we must do some shared cockpit at some point in the dash.
Indeed. But, yeah, we can get the timing together when you're back from your jaunt away, maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
And I need to come up to Inverness sometime as well.
Yes, you must. In fact,
every time I go to Bristol Airport, which is quite often, I see on the boards there Inverness. You know, it's an hour away. I want to whiz up and have a
cup of tea and have a hike in the hills.
Whatever.
That's right.
Indeed.
Well, at some point late in the kind of after August time, I'm hoping to move into my own place in Invergordon, which is actually just about half an hour north from Inverness. And it's in the prime position for, you know, hill walking and nice photography and wildlife and nature and all that kind of thing out in the countryside. You do feel like you're out in the sticks at that point. So, let's see.
Yeah, I did a little trip the other week. I went from my usual Bristol to Glasgow, and then I got on the Twin Otter and went up to Barrow. Was it Barrow?
Yeah, Barrow.
And that landed on the beach, which is fantastic.
That's.
And then I had a 10-minute cup of tea there, and I turned around and came straight back again. And just did the return.
Well, that's an experience just for fun. I mean, I would probably do the same if I had the money. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't do that to land on the beach? That sounds amazing.
Fantastic, just coming over and just landing on the beach and the spray coming up, and it's fantastic. Really good, really nice trip. I enjoyed it.
That's good.
It wasn't that expensive, you know. Single ticket. I think the Barrow one was more expensive than the Bristol to Glasgow one.
Ah.
And that was cheap enough. It was only 30 quid or something. It was nothing. These days, I don't know how they do it really.
Well, the one interest up here, of course, is RAF Lossiemouth, where you get the Eurofighters, and you have an absolutely unmatched view of the center line of the runway, and they literally come right over your head and land on the runway. And there's like a 6-foot fence, maybe a 6-foot wooden fence, and that's all that's between you and the runway. And perfect viewing area. Very little security there at all. It's shocking.
I'm surprised being one of the isn't it the UK's? It's one of the two.
One of the two.
Fast jet response.
It is.
That and
Marham, I think, something, or
Coningsby.
Coningsby. That's it. So Coningsby and Lossiemouth are probably the two.
The two Eurofighter, the fast response UK defence things. Yeah. I'm surprised you can walk right up that close to the.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I remember when I was first went there, and a friend of mine came up from England actually, and he happened to come up and visit me on the day that the Tornadoes were doing their farewell fly past at Lossiemouth.
Oh yeah.
So we went up there and we had the Tornadoes come over, and that's actually the first time I've ever seen Tornadoes flying in my life, and it'll probably be the last.
I saw them at Filton Bristol went the same a few weeks ago. That was just a week after I saw the big beluga thing. Built in. That came over as well, the first one. So that was fun.
And so we saw that, and the viewing area there is just unmatched. If you want to see Eurofighters, I mean, this is the place to be. And of course,
is it awkward though being right underneath though? Because you want a bit of a side end, don't you?
Well, you do have a side angle as well, because you just walk along the fence.
Oh, right.
So it's amazing. You can have a side angle, or a straight on angle. You can stand exactly on the center line. I'm looking forward to going there one day when they're actually taking off towards me. Because every time I've been there, I've only been there twice, but on the 2 times I've been there, they've always been taking off away from me, which means that I'm standing on that center line and I'm getting the afterburner in my face, which means that to take photos, it means that the afterburner completely blurs the image because of all the heat.
The heat haze,
So I want to get it where they're actually taking off towards me. I think that would be amazing to get one of those days. You need wind from the kind of northeast, which is an offshore breeze, which shouldn't be too difficult to get one day. So, but apparently there's not much flying at Lossiemouth on the weekends. If you want to see anything, usually you have to be there on the weekdays. And of course, I'm full-time employee, so. But you know, if you decide at some point to come up for a couple of days, I can always take a day off work and we can go over there and have a whale of a time. You know, and the town of Lossiemouth is lovely as well. It's a little seaside port, and it's got nice walks and stuff, and it's got beaches, and it's got a lighthouse, and it's lovely.
Fabulous. So we'll make a date on that then later on in the summer.
Yeah, and then of course you've got the Tain bombing range, which is where the F-15s and Eurofighters regularly come over and do strafing runs.
Right.
I don't think they actually drop too much live ordnance these days. They used to though. Back about 10 years ago, apparently my boss says that they would come over and he could see the live tracer rounds going in.
Wow.
So that would have been, and they would apparently they used to drop concrete bombs, back in the day.
Okay.
As well,
just
but
for marking.
Just for
purposes,
marking. Yeah.
I suppose there's so much stimulation they could do now.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate, isn't it? You can fire invisible lasers and it's hit or miss, or exactly instantly what's going on.
Yeah, that's true. Really enjoying the F-14 in DCS at the moment, and the multi-crew aspect. You can have someone sitting in the back seat as your Rio. Like Maverick and Goose, and it's amazing. Yeah, it really is amazing.
I'm just looking at your refueling pictures.
Yeah, that was me this afternoon. I was flying, and the guy who took the photos was sitting in the back seat. And of course, while you're sitting in the back seat, you can just take pictures. So
of course you can.
But it's amazing because it's 2 completely different disciplines, being the pilot or being the Rio, and it's basically a study level simulation. It's a study level aircraft. It's up there. I'd say it's beyond PMDG. To be fair, I mean it's completely PBR materials. The texturing is just 10 out of 10. The lighting, of course, the lighting engine in DCS is I think far superior than that of P3D. And
it's a more modern platform, isn't it? Though?
Yeah.
Again, like the X-Plane, it's a more modern platform, so you're bound to get those options.
Just have a look at my fuel state. Okay, we're almost equal on both tanks now. That's good. In about 10-15 minutes, I'll swap over to the right tank. So let's just see where we are. That's good. Okay, we're just coming close to that 8,000. So the restricted airspace I'm flying into is the Evans Head. Surface to 8,000, and then it's got Class E from 8,500 and plus Brisbane CTA East. Not quite sure what that means, but oh, I see. Right, that's fine. Yeah. 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 Nice little Sunday morning flight. You know what would be pretty cool? Would be if we had you know, a proper serious developer like PMDG or someone to do a full space shuttle add-on. You know, like a study level space shuttle add-on, all PBR, all lovely, and you could take off from Florida on 39A and blast up to the moon, and it would be a full simulated space shuttle flight. So you could launch into low Earth orbit or something, or you could do a moon mission. I wonder if the moon is actually the actual planet of the moon is modeled in this simulation. I've never even thought about it. I mean, if you go to, say, in P3D version 4, where I am right now, if you zoom out and you zoom up and up and up and up, you will see the whole globe.
Yeah.
It's there and it's mapped. So I wonder if you can turn around and see the moon, possibly go to the moon. I don't know, but I know that I know that the space shuttle was modeled for FSX back in the day. So I'm not sure how realistic that was and what you're able to do with it. But
of course, the shuttle never went anywhere near the moon. It was just a low orbit, wasn't it? It's just for
true.
It hasn't got enough juice to get off. You need a Saturn V to
get
to the moon, I believe.
Yeah, or a Falcon Heavy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just me. The Australian Army made an official armistice. Emus are birds which cannot fly who fought off the Australian Army after World War One.
What?
Someone in my YouTube chat is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ian, you've just posted a chart thing. I'll just allow that. There you go.
And what?
Ian, no, sorry, not you. Ian Carroll on the YouTube chat just posted the link to a chart. It looks like. Maybe let me just open that up. Oh yes, fatalities by commercial aircraft by year after first flight. I see. So yeah, the 737 MAX fatalities by commercial aircraft by year after first flight is quite steep in comparison with any other aircraft. The DC-9, wow, that's a sobering chart. Thank you for that, Ian Carroll. And Moggy says, give me a Piper Cub at 2,000 feet any day. True top of the world flying. I know, Moggy. My heart is there with you. A2A Simulations hasn't released the Cub for V4 yet.
Yeah, we're all waiting for that, aren't we? And the B-17.
We're all waiting. We're all waiting for A2A to release its other add-ons. But you see, the thing with A2A is you just know that when they do release it, it's going to be epic. Like, they don't disappoint ever.
No.
I have faith.
Yeah, it's just time, isn't it?
Yeah. Although the B377
work on first.
Although the B377, you know, I have almost everything my heart could desire in this simulator in P3D version 4, but my heart keeps going back to the B377 Stratocruiser. The Constellation is lovely. You cannot fault the Constellation, but for some reason I can't fall in love with the look of the Constellation in comparison to the 377. There's something about the 377. I know
Connie's nice and sleek and racy, and
she is.
Love the curved lines.
She is. That's true. That's true. But there's something about the Stratocruiser to me that I just love the look of it more than the Constellation for some reason. And I love the challenge of flying the Stratocruiser over the challenge of flying the Constellation. So when we get that back in V4, I'm going to be doing some long haul flying in that baby. I did London to Sydney in the Constellation, so I'm going to have to do like London to Rio or London to, I don't know, some far-flung colony that Boeck flew to in those days. I'm going to just find the longest route that the Boeck used to fly and go do that. I should get back in the sim in the Constellation actually and do another transatlantic leg with stellar navigation. I haven't got round to doing that again yet, but I should.
I did one recently. I didn't do the stellar. I just did the weather, which is pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Wasn't too far off, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Trouble is, it took that 12 hours or something, 10 hours.
Yeah.
Against the wind. I should have gone the other way.
Ah, yes. Well, you were against the Gulf Stream, were you?
Yeah, I keep going east to west all the time. I keep going London,
oh, you
Shannon.
should. Yeah.
I should go the other way. And
that's the more challenging way, but the Connie does have more than enough fuel to make that westbound journey against the Gulf Stream.
Oh yeah.
It's just the speed.
It's just the time.
Yeah.
You're only limited to 25k, so you can't go above the weather.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So you're flying into it all the time.
Yeah.
The range is there. Got no problem at all. But it's just
the old Stratocruiser will go up to 30,000. I know that. I think 30,000 was its official ceiling, or was it slightly higher? Not much higher than 30,000 though. Flying into some more hazy weather here. My graphics card's just bottlenecked again.
Oh, I see you changed your goal to an RTX now.
Yeah, it's cheaper. And it almost does it exactly. It almost is. It's quite comparable to the GTX 1080 Ti. I mean,
yeah, because it's a newer version.
Yeah, the GTX 1080 Ti has a bit more grunt, but to be fair, like the RTX 2070 will be more than enough for my needs. So. It's
and you can't buy a 1080 Ti now.
Not really. It's harder to find them, and they're more expensive when you do find them. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Nvidia are actually, pushing the sales of their new RTX line, and apparently if you go to the Nvidia website, when you buy one, they give you 3 free games along with it. So it's like, well, why not?
Okay, yeah.
So, it's bottleneck now. So my FPS is now stuck down at 9 to 10 frames a second. Usually what I do is I just change the views from external to internal views and kind of spam the views around until it decides at one point, once I've changed the views enough, it will just like reload certain textures and things, and then it kind of flushes out the memory and it starts to catch up again. But there you go. There you go. No, there you go. It's back up now to 29.5 frames per second. So it's weird. It just every now and then it does that, and sometimes it'll happen for hours and hours and hours. It'll be stuck all the way at 10 FPS. I've had transatlantic flights I've done in PMDG stuff or that's just bottlenecked at 10 frames per second the whole way, and then I'll get all the way down to final approach, and then just at final approach it loads in all the airport textures, and all of a sudden it decides when it does that it flushes itself out somehow, and it just runs more smoothly. So I recently got the Singapore scenery for V4, and it's a full PBR airport, and it looks amazing. I landed in the nighttime the other day, and the light reflecting off of the glistening tarmac, and oh, it was amazing. Not tarmac, sorry.
I'll have to check that one out.
The concrete. Yeah, the sections of concrete and everything. It's really, really, really realistic looking. I'm so impressed. So I've got to fly the 747 into Singapore, which of course the 747 is now PBR. So that everything I look at will be PBR goodness, and the light reflections and things will all look, and shadows will all look quite good. So I do enjoy soaring in FSX. Yeah. Soaring as in gliding, Moggy? DC-9 is my favorite airline to fly in. DC-9. I've not flown the DC-9 before. I have the other one from Just Flight. What's it called? The VC-10. The VC-10. I've got that one. And they recently released an update for it. I think, or they will be doing so soon. Can't remember. Gliding. Okay, so you oh, in FSX, that's right. Because I know there's some gliders you can get for V4, and of course I think Active Sky Next does ridge lift and all of that sort of thing. Okay, we're definitely not in VFR conditions anymore, so I'm gonna have to. I am going to begin descent. So I'm going to come off altitude hold and just pull the throttle back slightly, and in pulling the throttle back slightly that will cut power, and in cutting power the nose will want to drop, but then the nose will come back up again as it increases speed. So it's all about trim at this point, but at the same time I don't want the whole aircraft to start porpoising, which is what it looks like it's going to start doing. It should settle itself down at some point. Maybe I pulled the power back too abruptly. That's probably what I did. This is a bit of a test. I'm going to see how this works.
Now you're climbing.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's started to settle down now. That's fine. Flew on an MD-80 series from O'Hare to Houston back in 2003 in the rocket seats. One heck of an experience. Nice. Do they still fly the MD-80? I'm pretty sure the Madog was put out of service 4 years back now? 3 or 4 years back? The last ones went out of service, but there may be 1 or 2 still hanging around in certain parts of the world. I'm just not sure if you know, yeah, you mentioned back in 2003, Moggy, so that was probably I'm not sure that any of them still operate anymore. Have all been replaced by Delta's bringing in the A220 series, which used to be Bombardier, but it's now Airbus has bought it, which is weird, really. But I think we should bring back the DC-3 into full-scale production. Just have a budget airline doing short haul, all of them in DC-3s. Just doing short routes that no one else feels like is worth doing, like Inverness to Glasgow and Inverness to Edinburgh. You could do Bristol to London. Well, to be fair, here's the logic with this idea. To be fair, by the time you've boarded a DC-3, flown to your destination, you would have been there on a train in half the time.
True.
Unfortunately, that is the truth. Yeah, pretty sure American got rid of theirs a few years ago. Also flew on one of the last 727s back in 2001. Can't remember much of the flight as I was sick as a dog. Wow, one of the last 727s. Yeah, the 727s. Wow, those were the days. 2001. Wow. The 727s. Wow. Although the what is it I'm thinking of though is the 717s, which were McDonnell Douglas originally. Yeah, the 717. Yeah, they're still around. Weirdly. Okay, got a little bit.
And the original passenger jet 707, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
In the 50s, 60s.
That's right. Which the U.S. Air Force is still flying.
Ugh.
The U.S. Air Force use them as their strata tankers, KC-135s they're called. But they're all basically 707s. And I've been inside the cockpit of one of them, and they look exactly the same as they did in the mid-50s and 60s. They have not added anything to them. You go in their cockpits and you not change the avionics at all. It was a shock to me because I thought, you know, the US Air Force and all that, you know, modern, cutting edge, got all of the fun toys. You walk into a KC-135 flight deck and it's like you're walking into the mid-60s, you know, aviation-wise. And then you realize all of a sudden, like, wow, you look at a KC-135 and then if you go and walk into a 787, it's like a spaceship in comparison. Just crazy.
Steam dials to glass cockpit,
yeah.
etc.
Yeah. So this idea of mine, just pulling the throttle back and allowing the aircraft to settle into a stable descent based on its pitch setting, has worked out for me.
Yeah, you got 500, 600 feet per minute there.
Yeah. So I'm going to go down through a layer of haze quite soon. But I'm just kind of gradually descending. Okay, now in this descent, I'm actually going to tune the Gold Coast VOR, which is 112.3. Let's go do that. (112.3). So who's looking forward to the new VATSIM audio codec, Ian?
Well, yeah. Well, who isn't, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I can't wait
read
for it.
They're updating or they're trialing it or something soon, aren't they? Or I can't remember.
Yeah, they're doing a large, it's a large test.
Right.
It's a large public test. Not sure what servers they're going to put it on or what portions of the world that they're going to do this test. But we'll see. You can find videos on YouTube right now of people who participated in a smaller scale test. There's one of a guy who flew a Dash 8 out of Toronto, and it sounds amazing. And the weird thing is that the controllers who are participating in the test have the updated audio codec, and a load of the pilots who don't have access to the new beta software, who are just participants of the test, are still on the old codec. So you've got this weird mix where you're hearing people who are on the new codec and hearing people on the old codec, and the difference is night and day. It's amazing.
I can imagine. I can well imagine. Well, it sounds like they're doing a lot of work there, and they're about to do something.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've been saying that for some time.
Yes, but also I think reading between the lines, I get the sense they're very cautious that they don't want to just throw something very quickly onto the servers. They want to make sure that they get this as perfect as possible and really.
Well, it's the robustness that
the robustness
what you need.
And the longevity.
I'm sure they get the quality very easy, but to have it across the whole world, you know, 24/7,
and to update everything in the right way as well, and the longevity of it and the stability of the system is really what they're working on, and that's good.
The key.
That's the key. And I mean, their current servers and their current codecs have been running for donkey's years. Must be a decade already. The VATSIM's been up probably more than that since the FS9 days, I think. You know, it's a very important step, but it's a big step. So waiting for it will probably be worth it. Probably when it comes in and we start enjoying it, we'll really say, you know, it was worth waiting for. Of course, we can just pop over to IVAO anytime we like, but the coverage of IVAO is just not the same as VATSIM for certain parts of the world.
Especially for UK flying, it's okay. Seems to be okay in sort of Central Europe-ish. But around here, you look on whereby, whatever they call it, and there's, you know, you might get Heathrow on if you're lucky, but that's about it. There's no regional controllers at all.
Although the one nice thing about IVAO is that's true. You don't get high intensity hotspots, or you do actually sometimes on the weekends. You do get some high intensity hotspots. So if I go to whereby right now, you see you've got all of Paris is on right now. Amsterdam, Schiphol is generally quite well staffed on IVAO throughout the week as well. But the cool thing about IVAO is that the aircraft are a lot more evenly spread over the globe than VATSIM ever is. So, and there's always quite a dedicated following of IVAO in South America, I've always found. There's always a fair amount of aircraft around Rio and different places. And on the weekend, you do get hotspots. I'm just looking right now. You do get portions of ATC in South America. So I would like to...
looking at your string there.
I would definitely like to do some South American flying on IVAO at some point. So yeah. See, coming down 22 degrees Celsius. So in the descent, let's just check as we're going down through 4,000 feet. We've come into some cloud cover here. So we're quickly becoming an IFR situation. As we come down through these clouds, we'll level off at 3,000 feet again. I don't want to go any lower than 3,000 at this stage of the flight. But let's just have a look at the descent. Power as desired, mixture is rich, electric fuel pump on. Oh, I should have turned it off all this time, but I didn't, so there we go. I should change my fuel tank now from the left to the right. So I've done that. Airspeed with flaps down, and no, sorry, that's fuel selector. Yeah, okay, that's fine for the descent checklist at the moment. We're basically just transitioning into an IFR situation here, and coming in on, let's see, let's just tune ourselves a radial and just set to fly that. So it's 353. Let's go to track high, and that will track the VOR radial we have set nav 1, so that's good. So now we're tracking a radial instead of going off heading hold. And as okay, 1,000 feet to go, so we're going to level off at 3,000. And since we're in the cloud, let's just pop the landing light on. A bit of extra visibility can't hurt. Oh, there's my FPS bottleneck. There you go. Just spam the camera around a bit and it generally comes back. There we go. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll fly a bit further north than the airport. Actually, we'll fly into Southport. That's what we'll do. We'll fly overhead Gold Coast and then up through the city area, and then we'll fly down to the city airport, which is a nice little airport. And that's also modelled as part of the city scene terrain, city scene scenery. Do we still see the E3 Sentries? Those were the 707s with upgraded engines. Yes, we do, Moggy. The US Air Force still use them over at Mildenhall and Lakenheath Air Force bases. The E3s also, the military version of the 737, which is the E8, is it? I think it's called an E8. The submarine hunters, essentially. We have a number of them stationed up here at Lossiemouth that go up into the North Sea searching for the old Rusky submarines. When I last flew on VATSIM, I didn't have voice, just text communications. Yeah, that's the same. So I'm on Unicom right now, 122.8, and this is a simple text chat. So if there were other people around me at the time and I needed to communicate, I would use the text. But once the VATSIM audio codec update goes live, we will actually have Unicom as a voice channel, and it will have a radius, it will have a distance fall off radius, so I will be able to talk over voice comms as you would in real life on Unicom to other aircraft in the sky. And the way you would do that is if you were in a small plane like this coming into an airport that was governed by Unicom, instead of requesting something from the controller and then the controller telling you what to do, you simply state what you are going to do just before you do it. So you would say Victor Hotel Charlie Whiskey Juliet, turning downwind for runway 30. And in saying that on frequency, every other aircraft around knows exactly what you're going to do, and then they follow suit in such a way as that it keeps everyone safe. Obviously, I'm sure you know that, but I just thought I'd say it just because, you know, there's other people listening, and people might watch this video as a YouTube video after it's been streamed live. So lovely, lovely views through the misty clouds of the scenery below. I've always really loved the Australian scenery. I really think Australia must be such a beautiful place to live. Something about the coastal scenery and even some of the, you know, the scenery in the desert areas really have to be beautiful areas. Unfortunately, we don't have any scenery for Perth International Airport, or else I would be doing those ultra long hauls in the Quality Wing 787-9 from Heathrow. That would be pretty fun. It'd be interesting to do that flight in real life one day. But okay, that's my 3000. Hold the altitude there. Let's just bring the throttle back up so that there you go. My computer is whining. Where did I go? Oh, there I went. Okay, I'm still quite far away actually from. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull up the core temp just to see what my temperatures are. Okay, okay. Okay, high 60s. Yeah, that's fine. 76. That's because it's quite warm in my room right now, and this is an air cooler I use on my I should move it over here so you guys can see it. So the max is kind of 76s, so mid 70s Celsiuses, high 70s Celsiuses, which that's the hottest I've ever seen it. But to be fair, it is quite warm in my room. My radiator's been on. This is the first time the boiler in my house has been working for about a week, and so the boiler all of a sudden now it works. It's like, ooh, yay! And it just like pumps tons of heat into my house. Like, yay, I'm alive again! And now I've got a really warm house. So actually, I am feeling quite stuffy right now. I'm just gonna pause track IR and just go see if the radiator's still running. And if it is, oh, it feels like it's still running. Yeah. Actually, I'm just gonna turn the radiator down in here. There we go. So now that my new boiler is working, I turned it on this afternoon or this evening just to get some heat into the room, into the house, and I only just realized that actually in turning the boiler on, because it was fixed, all of the timing, that when you put it on auto, it's like I have it on an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening, but in fixing it, it was reset to default, which means that when you turn it on to auto, it just runs. I have to put new time slots into it, and I haven't done that yet. So it was just running constantly for the last like 2 hours, and that's why my room's quite warm. So that's why my core temperature on the processors on the threads are quite high. So running through IMC, but I don't feel like descending too much lower currently. We'll see. Hey Tim, good to see you. What plane are we in? The A2A A Cherokee, that is what we're flying. We're flying it through some IMC, as you can see. We can't even see the ground. We're just... We're taking Heidi and her 85-pound handbag to the Gold Coast. You can see the sun up there is just a big misty ball. Just in the middle of a huge cloud. No reference points whatsoever. And my CPU is bottlenecked again, and there it's back. That's one of those things that just keeps happening. Okay, so let's just spend some time having a look at our... So we've set the DME function. We're reading the DME function of the VOR from Gold Coast. You can see we are 21.5 nautical miles away from the Gold Coast. We are currently going 112 knots towards the VOR, and it approximates that we should get overhead the Gold Coast VOR in 11 minutes. So that is how the DME function works of a VOR. When you tune a VOR, it tells you on this setting here, or you can tune a custom VOR. You can go over to frequency and tune using this knob a custom setting and read a custom DME off of a separate VOR. This on the left hand side, this Model 903, I was playing with a while ago, and you can tune nav1 or nav2, and it's the Davtron, and it basically gives you just a digital readout of this is the radial I'm flying. I'm flying the 352 radial, and then once you go over to a localizer, it actually gives you like a digital readout of your localizer, which is kind of cool. If you don't have basically like a digital readout of your localizer as seen on your nav1. So that's that. 4 people on Twitch and 9 people on YouTube. How are my Twitch folks going along? Hello, Matthew. Good to see you, sir. I don't get too many people seeing the YouTube channel these days on Twitch, but that's the way it is. Excuse me. Love those Hershey bar wings. I know. They do look. Oh wow. Woo! Popped out of the clouds there. Let's just look behind us, and wow, that's active sky next for you guys. We just came straight out of that bank of low-lying cloud, and all of a sudden we're in almost perfect conditions. Look at that. That's brilliant. Oh, we've got a follower. It sounds like we have a Twitch follower. Let's see. Matthew is now following. Thank you for the follow, sir. Thank you for that. Good to have you on the crew. That was really nice to go straight from IMC, popping straight out of that cloud bank. It's like low-lying fog or cloud. That was really cool. And onwards and upwards towards Gold Coast. So we're flying directly, probably about 15 nautical miles to the Gold Coast now, to that VOR, and we're right up against our cautionary speed. So we are thundering along at a respectable 114 knots ground speed-ish, it looks like. And did I feel a little bit of updraft? Maybe that's those hills just coming up. It's creating some kind of ridge lift-like turbulence. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Good thing we're going to land soon, because I'm running out of tea. Oh wow, it's a 9:45 as well. I am tired. It's been a long day.
That's a disaster, running out of tea.
I know. That's
just not on.
It's just
get that kettle going again.
Gets my goat, I tell you. When I move into my own house, Ian, and you come to visit me, I'll have a kettle in every room.
Fantastic. And now the thing is, though, have you got proper tea? Have you got loose
Ah,
tea?
I've got a teapot for loose leaf tea. Yeah.
There you go. Got to do that.
Yeah.
Or I've gone over to that now. We buy ours in bulk, and
oh, nice.
It's a teapot. We buy kilos of it.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. Proper teapot, and add the correct temperature water and all the rest of it.
Oh yeah.
And sit there for 2 minutes while it stews. While it infuses, or whatever you call it.
Now, are you hardcore where you actually heat the teapot up with boiling water, and you give it the preheat, so you preheat the kettle. Oh, sorry, you preheat the actual ceramics of the teapot first before you add the tea. Yeah, that's hardcore. I salute you, sir.
Kettle goes on, hot water goes in there. Put that in, then I start preparing the teapot. Get the tea out, get the even sometimes warm the cups up.
Oh wow! Wow.
If I'm feeling like it, bit of hot water in there.
Wow! Someone just followed me again. Captain Hook. That's a good name.
Captain Hook.
So Captain Hook is now following the channel on Twitch. So good to have you on the stream, sir.
One thing we don't do, we don't have those tea cozy. The little bobble hat things that go on the top.
Oh.
To keep because my tea never stays in there long enough.
Yeah.
The sort of thing you bring into the parlour on a Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
When your gran comes and you put your little tea cozy top on, your little bobble
because
hat on.
she doesn't drink much, and it's just a very long, protracted operation drinking tea for grandmothers. And they never drink all of it. They always leave the little bit left in the bottom. Yeah, but of course, if you're drinking loose leaf tea, I mean, that's a legit thing to do then. Because you never know.
And everything. You don't get any stuff through it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like you're living in the 1920s anymore.
Absolutely. Then we choose different blends and all the rest of it. And,
oh yeah.
You can have breakfast tea in all sorts of different flavours, and beetroot tea and
beetroot tea. My goodness me.
Yeah, all sorts. You can get Pete. You can get absolutely everything. You know that. You get all the different flavours, all the coffees you can get. All the different beans and everything. You can get the same thing in tea: green tea, peppermint tea, lemon tea, Earl Grey if you must.
Oh, if you must, but you really shouldn't. But yeah.
No, you shouldn't. You should go for the builder's tea.
I'm glad we are of one mind on this subject.
Builder's tea in a mug.
Yes, a thick mug. You see the mug I'm using right now? It's about the size of my face. It's my Shakespeare mug. It's to commemorate 500 years of Shakespeare.
Right, I've got one from Sports Direct.
Oh yes, well that's the good honest British mug. Well, not really. International. let's say it's international, but yeah, it's a good honest mug. It's not the kind of mug that has any pretenses.
It's a proper mug. You got to have a proper tea.
That's right.
Strong tea in it. No sugar. Just get on with it. And the beauty of those things is you can fit your digestive biscuits straight in for dunking.
Wow.
Without having to nibble the side first to make it easy. You go straight in. Proper job.
Yeah. There's the Gold Coast coming up. Beautiful. The amount of autogen they've put on this is obscene.
Did Orbex do a what do they call it? A scenic
city scene.
City scene. Did they do one of them for these Gold Coast?
They did. They did. This is the Gold Coast City Scene Gold Coast. It's called.
Right, and you've got it here, have you?
This is what it is. If I just go back to, my goodness, the level of autogen is profuse. Look at this. If I just zoom in, every single house.
Yeah, I've got the Orlando one, and I've got the Spanish one, the Barcelona
Oh,
one.
yeah. How's the Orlando one? Because that came on sale recently, I think.
Yeah, it's quite framey. It's quite...
Yeah.
They seem... the more and more they do,
as
they can,
Yeah.
it then affects you more and more.
Yeah.
You know, just because they can put lots more in doesn't mean they should, but they do.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That has to be tens of thousands of pieces of autogen on my screen right now. And I'm still running at 30 FPS. Look at that. Just wait for the stream to catch up.
I'm a little bit behind you, don't forget, on the stream.
Yeah.
I'm about 30 seconds.
You know what I'm going to do? That's going to be my screenshot for my thumbnail.
Oh, look at that one.
I know. That's what I'm just talking about.
Distant one.
Look,
wow.
way off into the distance. It's just obscene.
It's insane.
Okay, we're overhead Gold Coast now. Off with the autopilot. Let's pop on the track IR. Oh, no, that didn't. That's the wrong one. Autopilot disconnect. I remember the day when I was flying this at Jersey and I was doing the IMC approach to the runway, and I came down through the cloud bank, and I was like 50 foot off the center line at about 200 foot minimums, and I had to pull the autopilot out so quickly. I remember almost like my voice went up like 3 octaves. It was funny. Look at that shot though. Oh, I'm gonna zoom in on this one. Here we go. I just save this shot here. Oh. Oh yeah. That's the golden goose right there. That's my shot. Whew. I mean, autogen galore. And this and what's really making it easy for my PC right now is the 8700K. Because
yes, of course, you've got the latest
autogen. Yeah, autogen in P3Dv4 is still handled by the CPU, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to my 990, I did notice a difference.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to begin my descent down the coast, and then we'll turn into our airfield in due time. Heard Plan G sound, yeah, that's what I've got. Teacup. Oh my goodness, there's been so many comments on the chat the chat that I have to scroll up. What is this? Has to be a mug.
It's all about tea.
It's
well, it's all about tea and cheesecake and nothing about flying.
No, well, it's not. It's fine. That's fine by me. Hello, Cole. Hi, Peter. Are you going to have time to do a flight after this? Probably not. I'm afraid this is probably the last one of the evening. Tim, possible odd question, but what else would you put in? What else would you put tea in? I'm quite fond of the lemon cheesecake digestive biscuits. I've never heard of lemon cheesecake digestive biscuits. No. Where has my life been? Where have I been in life that I've not come across lemon cheesecake digestive biscuits?
You're not alone, Peter. I haven't either.
Tim, guess what? But when I drink beverages, I need something that holds more than a teacup. Yeah, that's true. I'm with you there, Tim. Captain Hook says, heard a Plan G sound. That's right. Mugs are what you need then. Yes, that's what I use. I was confused, lol. Okay. Yeah, Captain G, I'm running Plan G just in the background, as you can see. And that beep you heard was as we came overhead at one of our waypoints, which was Gold Coast, and we're just flying. We're just continuing our leg. My goodness, this scenery though. Oh. It's almost on a scale of every single building. It really is. It's almost on a scale of every single building is present, which is shocking. It really to think how far we've come in capability since Lockheed Martin took on FSX. If Lockheed Martin had never turned around and bought out FSX and produced what we have today, we would still be stuck with FSX, which, to be fair, I mean, it does what it says on the tin, but in compared with...
I wonder if X-Plane would be there if they didn't have the competition.
Yeah, that's a good question. Would they still be stuck with X-Plane 10 if P3D hadn't come along?
Yeah. If they didn't push it.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it, for getting enthusiasm and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Competition's good.
Yeah.
For the flyers, customers.
Yeah.
Look at those flats. They're great.
Oh, I know. Look, just
scrapers.
Just these.
Reminds me of the True Earth stuff. Looking at that.
Yeah.
And then aren't they doing with something? I read somewhere else they're doing another upgrade buildings. Aren't they doing sort of more country-specific buildings or something?
For the True Earth package.
Yeah, in India you get Indian-looking buildings or whatever that is, and South American ones and American ones. You're getting the more type-specific ones rather than these generic,
Oh, is that for the global scenery?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
I did read some. I can't remember where it was. I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was on one of the Orbex streams they do. With Durka.
Oh yeah.
It was on one of those that I heard they were doing. They were working on buildings, autogen buildings specific to the countries that they were in, the regions that they were in.
Huh.
I think I'm right in saying that.
They should do Chicago.
Yeah.
I think Chicago's a place because, I mean, we all know Meigs Field, and we all still have Meigs Field holds a place in our hearts. And I think adding Chicago as a cityscape to go along with the Meigs Field scenery package would be great. I'd get it. Because then we could then go ahead and get Chicago O'Hare specific scenery for long hauls into Chicago O'Hare.
I mean, if you're talking the States, what you need is a West Coast. So you need Los Angeles or San Francisco. You need a mid like Chicago, and then you need an East Coast New York, and then you've got the three there, don't you?
Yep.
I mean, obviously there's lots more, but those are the basic three you need for long hauls.
Yep. That's nice and close.
Does remind me of Miami. This does.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't. It kind of Florida.
Right,
very Florida feel. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just that little bit there, without looking at the distant ones. Just the coastline. As you now flying below the towers.
I know.
Oh dear. Sorry, ATC, sorry.
Sorry. I say. Is that a tower off abaft the beam? Alright. Let's just fly overhead this airfield. So this airfield we're going to fly to is a small GA airfield that kind of, because City Scene is so detailed, they went ahead and just just basically gave us a free airfield into the city scene package, because they were doing so much detail around it all anyway that they just threw it in as well. But it doesn't really, it still strangely doesn't have the same feeling as a dedicated scenery package, but it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, middle ground.
A regional package and a scenery package for an airfield. But still, it fits very nicely. These buildings here look very interesting. Oh, it's a hospital. It's got a helipad. Now, I wonder if we had a helicopter, we would actually be able to land there, or would we actually fall through the building texture? I think Orbex, starting with their Innsbruck scenery, they actually, all the helipads they made sure they were actually landable platforms.
Yeah.
That they do actually work. So it probably does. I think Nemeth designs EC-135 Medivac helicopter. I think I have that. I don't know if it works for V4. I haven't installed it. My goodness, that's a lot of roofs. It's a lot of roofs, indeed. Oh, just beautiful scenery. I just drink in the autogen. I can't get enough of it. It's just excellent. And once I get the RTX 2070, it'll just work like a dream. It already works quite dreamish, except for this bottlenecking FPS. But oh, I've overflown. Oh no, there it is. There's the scenery there. Okay, so I'm gonna set up. Let's just double check the wind. Oh, there is no. Okay, let's just take variable 350 at 9. Okay, that means we've got northerly wind. So I am just going to fly. I'm going to do just fly over the top of it and then come around again. And Australia is also beautiful in that it is another one of those places similar to America where you just have freedom of space. There's just so much space to be utilized, and nothing feels particularly cramped in any way. It's not like London, you know. You get a big city like this that sprawls around in quite a liberal way. Where there's never in any part of the development of a city like this, that you can tell that they were just never at any time restricted by space. And you can tell when you look at it. It's really nice. It's a nice feeling, I think. I mean, the negative part of that is that, yeah, if you want to get somewhere, you know, on the other side of town, it's you know, 20 miles away, but still, I
think the biggest thing is the population.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a city's a city. You look at those big skyscrapers there, and it's all looks pretty dense. But there's tiny amount of people there compared to what we have in this country.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference.
What is the population of? I mean, the entirety of Australia is relatively wild because everyone lives around the coasts.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. If
first notch of flaps.
To say square kilometers per people.
Yeah.
Overall, that'd be huge, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas in practice, you as you say, you're just on the coast there. Whereas in the UK, you know, what is it? 55, 60 million of us.
Wow.
In this tiny island.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And over there, they've got what, 10 million in?
Yeah. Oh,
in 10 times the size of us,
wow.
Or something like that. I mean, I don't know the figures, but
yeah,
I'm sure somebody be in chat along.
Norway's
right in a bit.
Norway's pretty crazy as well. It's like 6 million and tons of and a lot of wild space. And London itself is like 11 million, is it?
Oh yeah, 10, 11
so
million,
it's like less than about half of all the people in London spread across an entire country. You know?
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, final approach. Okay. Not that one. That one. Landing, airspeed 75 to 85. Wing flaps as desired, airspeed as desired. Touchdown main wheels first and gently lower the nose wheel. Okay. A little bit high, and the runway is quite narrow, as you can see. And we do have a crosswind, which is going to make it interesting. And actually, I think I've laid myself a little bit too high and a little bit too fast. So if this doesn't work, yeah, I think that's a little bit too high and a little bit too fast. But we'll see what we can do. I think that might be a go around. Just going to call that now. Yeah, that's going to be a go around. I'm too fast. I'm too fast to roll out properly. I'm going to call that a go around. Flaps up. Just keep that positive rate of climb. Make sure we're above the trees, and we'll do a left-hand crosswind.
And on the stream, you're just pulling up now, just going into the go around now.
Yeah.
So you're a good 30 seconds behind the voice,
yeah.
the Discord voice.
Yeah. I think Montana is huge. Only 1 million people. Yeah. Yeah. The States is similar in that the States does have some very, very unpopulated areas, but I think in compared to some other places of the world like Australia, it's not on the same level as Australia. Definitely, the States is generally more populated than somewhere like that.
Yeah, because they can use all the land, you know.
Yeah.
More or less. Obviously, you've got Alaska and the wilds and stuff like that, which you can't use all of it. But is it 350 million people or something over there?
Don't know.
And we've got 60 million in a tiny island.
Right, that's the last of my tea, so this is going to have to be a full stop.
Oh no, that's it. Got to get your tea down.
That's right. Okay, so that's where the threshold, I want the threshold to be. And I know I've got a crosswind, so I'm going to have to make this a tight turn. Trim, 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 trim. Trim, 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 trim. Okay, we've got quite a displaced threshold, and that's because of the tree line, most likely. That's more like it, except not quite as like it as I would like it, if that made sense. Okay, that's better. That's better. It's just trim. Trim, 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 trim. Trim, 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 trim. Oh, that was not bad. I had a bad feeling I was going to really smash that into the ground, but that worked out okay, I think. Let's just brake, and that was a bit of a grabby crosswind there. That didn't really want to let go of me. Okay, and I'm going to just taxi at the end of the runway. Okay, lean for ground operations, and I can turn the landing and the strobe off. And the fuel pump. I thought I'd turn the strobe off. That's the strobe. Okay. Oh, look at this lovely little airfield. Yeah, you see the crosswind, you see the windsock? Yeah. Well, this is a lovely airport. Look how small and quaint this is. Look at the long grass. Not terribly high ground. The ground textures aren't terribly high, but then again, like I was saying earlier, this is not an individual scenery package. This is simply a city scene. This is an airport within a city, and they've done so well at modeling the whole city that this is almost like a payware airport. I'm gonna chop that guy's head off with my wing, or maybe not. So these quite narrow tolerances in this airfield, but again, this is only an airfield meant for very small aircraft. It's not meant for anything more than that. Anything bigger would, of course, go to the Gold Coast airport. Very narrow tolerances.
Yeah, this is for your Pipers and your...
Yeah, Pipers. I'd definitely like to fly a Piper Cub in here. In fact, I'll try and make a mental note now that... the first stream I do in the Piper Cub when it comes out for V4, I will do it from this airfield, and I will tour around the Gold Coast. And there's my frame rates again. Okay, let's just pull up the parking brake. Okay, so let's turn off the avionics first, like so, and then gradually pull out the mixture so that the engine just starves itself shut. And the prop stops turning. Once the prop has stopped turning, then we turn off the ignition and the master. Just unlock. There we go, ladies and gents. Let's just pan around. And you see, I'm not even off the taxiway. I didn't want to hit the... I didn't get a good visual representation of how close to the hangar door I was. But of course, at this point, you would literally just get out and pull yourself into the hangar. So, and unfortunately, there's no... The interiors of the hangars have not been modeled, so I can't really... do that. But this is a nice little airfield. The really cool thing is if you go over here, you'll see, if I just come down here, not many airfields have this. I know that Frankfurt airfield has this, but it's got a sloped area just here where you actually have to taxi uphill, and then you can go left into that area of hangars there. And these are small hangars. These are like Piper Cub sized hangars. I can't think of anything else that would fit in those. Maybe a 172 might fit just about. And then there's a higher area there. And these are just really cute little hangars. I really like these. We should do a Piper Cub flight from one of these hangars. Definitely. And then roll it down the hill and away you go. And you've got a car park just here that goes off. I suppose the road that goes out of the airfield goes... Say if the... Where's the service road in and out of the airfield? It's got to be... This is the car park for the airfield. So it's got to be this road here that... Oh yeah, it just goes off. And then of course it's not modeled beyond that point. But it probably goes off into the woods and then connects into the town there. But and then on the other side of the airfield, so you've got all of those hangars, and then on the other side of the airfield you have the same thing, and the level has changed, you see. That's really cool. The level, obviously you would get a plane up and down there, but you might get a car down in this area, and there's another load of hangars. And I love the long grass, it's a lovely touch. And then as you go down, you take a right-hand turn, and this is a lot more level. This is pretty much completely level compared to the other. And you've got a little turnaround bay here, got a bit of scrubby brush area. And of course, you can see, again, earlier on, I mentioned on my approach that we had quite a drastic displaced threshold. Quite drastic, actually, very drastic displaced threshold. And that, again, is most likely because of the raised elevation of the terrain on the final approach just here. You've got this raised up section, and you've got trees on top of the raised terrain. So that is what is forcing you. It's forcing you into having to touch down later than when you can. I felt like, looking at it right now, it doesn't look actually like it would be too difficult to land at the very beginning of that runway. It doesn't look like that's a big deal. But yet, when I was coming down in the Cherokee, I was almost struggling to get down on the displaced threshold, let alone maybe a Piper Cub would be probably quite a lot different. A Piper Cub could probably make that much easier. So I'm really looking forward to flying this with a Piper Cub when that comes out for V4, hopefully. Also, you've got a little bit of smoke that's giving you an indication, or a steam that's giving you an indication of the wind speed and the wind direction. And also you've got a windsock on the tower further down that I noticed. Oh, this is actually the barbecue. Oh, this is brilliant. Look at this. The smoke is actually a barbecue. It's actually that guy is on fire. The smoke is actually coming from the guy's backside, actually. Smoke is actually coming from his backside. It's not the actual barbecue. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love you, Orbex. You just are the best. Look at that. An Australian man's backside. Maybe he had one too many curries the night before. South flying. This is just lovely. Yeah, the little touches Orbex puts in are really good. That's brilliant. I'll never forget that now. I'll always remember that as that's why you should buy this scenery, guys. So if I just pan up, and you can see we flew all the way up from Coffs Harbour today, and the level of detail. That's what I love about flight simming, is the level of detail at such a small, intimate point on the globe can be so high, and yet you pan up and you look across and you've got an entire city's worth of detail and an entire globe's worth of detail that you can explore. And I really love that. And particularly when you get in these small planes that don't go very fast, you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy your time. Look at the autogen you got here. Anyway, that's it from me. I could just continue looking and looking and looking at this stuff. It's just amazing. That's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Look at that scenery there. I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, we'll talk again then, Peter.
Yes, thank you, Ian.
Sir.
Yep,
No
thank you very
worries.
much for joining.
No worries. Right, take care.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Right, folks, thank you very much for joining. Maybe try cross-control approach. Yeah, I could have done a crab. Decided not to, though. I'll have to watch back exactly how I did that approach, but we'll do a crab next time for you, Moggy. How's that? XBDR is still on alt, I think. Yeah. T6 Harvard, perhaps. The Harvard might fit in there. The Harvard might fit in there. That's a good call. Maybe I'll do the Harvard next time before we get the Cub. But I'm looking forward to the Cub. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. 13 people on YouTube, 3 on Twitch. Yeah, thanks for the stream. Thanks, Moggy, and thank you, guys. It was turned out to be a beautiful stream, and as I say, it's been a long time since I've done. Oh, I should really press complete flight on that, shouldn't I? There you go. So yeah, it's just been too long since I've done a P3D live stream, and as I say, guys, I'm going to be away as of Thursday of next week. I'm going to be away for a week, so I'm going to see if I can do another fairly serious live stream or video sometime this week, just to tide us through for next week. So thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I'm not just a pretty face. That's right. That's right. Never said a truer word. Never. Never, Moggy. Never. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and I'm going to hit the sack now, go to sleep, and yeah, have a good weekend, guys. Bye.